Automation engine connections are secured with TLS. We haven't deployed AE as of yet. We're going to deploy the supporting TLS infrastructure first, and it's a bit tougher than CAPKI. When you deploy in production, you'll need to give proper consideration to certificate types, internal or public certificate authorities, whether components are Java or OS based, the CA certs file, OS trustors, the tool set, and a lot more. For that matter, we've developed an entire learning offer on TLS, and we recommend that you take it. In our case, we create a key store using Key Store Explorer. This key store will store a public-private key pair and will base our public key certificates off of this key pair. In the infrastructure diagram, we're creating a key store containing a public and private key pair, and we'll deploy this key store to the AE host. The database comes with its own security mechanisms, and so we can ignore it. All other components in the basic Automic instance, from AWI all the way to analytics, connect to the automation engine. Communications are secured with TLS. We generate a public-private key pair, which should be part of AE configurations for things to work. Then we generate certificates containing the public key for the components, such as AWI and the agents. We're taking the easiest approach with self-signed certificates. This isn't realistic for production systems. TLS should be managed by the organization security teams. It requires a CA. But we're in the early stages of installing Automic, and so self-sign will work. We create a key store which stores the public and private key pair. We use Key Store Explorer, which is a simple UI-based tool. It's cross-platform and open source. You just download it from the Key Store Explorer website. Presumably, you'll manage TLS from your personal desktop, and so we do this on Windows. We generate the key store and copy it to the AE host. Later, we'll return to the key store to generate certificates for AWI, the agents, and analytics. We've downloaded Key Store Explorer and placed it on our desktop. Key Store Explorer is convenient because the default values are completely fine. The key store type should be PKCS12. You can save your key store. The key store needs a password. Make sure you remember this. The automation engine will need it. Next, you have to store your key store somewhere. The location is irrelevant since the key store has no role in this machine. You can name your key store anything you want. Next, we add the public and private key pair to the key store. This too needs a password, which you have to remember. The key pair needs a common name, or CN, which should match the name of the automation engine host. If you ever run into issues related to evolving host names or clusters, you can rely on star symbols and .nip.io DNS wildcard names so that your certificates remain active. We can ignore all the other fields. The alias is the key pair's name, which is also needed by the automation engine. The key pair needs a password. We'll give it the same password as the key store, although this is probably something you should avoid in the real world. The password is needed by AE. Finally, copy the key store to the AE host.